We will be perfectly on time. Okay, we can start. Hello, and glad to meet you in this hall at a new discussion of Smartly Done Stream. The next discussion, Building Power in the Eye of Crisis, Reinventing Approach to the Media Development, is organized in partnership with the European Centre for Press and Media Freedom, also known as ECPMF. As donor funding continues to decline, the media sector faces not only the challenge of survival, but also a deeper question of vision. Why do we do this work? And how should we do it? What is the current state of Ukraine's media landscape, and what changes are needed for the sector to grow and integrate more fully into the European and global media space? And are Ukrainian media ready to shift from being an aid recipient to becoming equal and independent partners? That's what our speakers will discuss. Ola Myrovych, Rita Ruduša, and Rebecca Harms have a conversation under the moderatorship of Gohar Khodjayan. Please, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting to discuss this important topic with all of us, and thank you all those who are doing hard work, vital work for both media under extraordinary pressure. We are meeting in the space that reflects both the challenges and the resilience of the Ukrainian media sector, and today we'll talk about how to build power even in the most uncertain conditions. We want to, reflect on the different questions, why we do this work and how should we do it. So I would like to introduce myself briefly. My name is Gohar Khodjayan. I am a team lead for Ukraine for international media support and moderator for the panel. We have with us Rebecca Harms, who is the vice chair for ECPMF. We have with us Rita Ruduša, the founder of Baltic Center for Media Excellence. And we have Ola Myrovych, the head of LMF. Thank you so much. And I would like each of you with a round of actual perspectives. So if we could give 5 minutes each, a perspective on the, reflecting with on the subject that, or the situation that with donor funding declining and war ongoing, the media in Ukraine faces both existential but also strategic challenges. So my question is, why do we do this work? How should we do it now? And when and how we should get together and collaborate? So if you could share a story or example where you saw a media organization move from the survival mode to real influence, or other stories, and maybe also some reflections from morning session where we actually dived in discussing some potential positive stories or positive scenarios for developing further within a short time and a long-term period of time. So we could start with you, Rebecca.
So if I should talk about Ukraine and situations when I discovered the need to change the media landscape and to improve journalistic work, I think it began already during Orange Revolution when I tried together with colleagues from the European Parliament and national parliaments to follow the political situations, also based on what we could see in the television in Ukraine. From that period on, if you look into what European politicians who engaged, like myself in Ukraine, did, so in all debates on change, in most of the resolutions passed by the European Parliament, you will find one red line. So this is so the media sector. I don't know when it started that we dared to speak about de-oligarchization of the media sector. I also do not, I can't give you the date when we decided that Ukraine needs a functioning and well-equipped public broadcaster, which became Suspilne, but it's a red line. And the internal confrontations, political confrontations, first in the period of Orange Revolution, later on also to name the most important situation, Maidan, made it very clear. On Maidan, so I must not remind the Ukrainians here, but without one channel deciding to really report the truth from the place, and without Hromadske, the developments might have been different. So a channel which reports the truth and the reality from this place was crucial for the impact the people during Revolution of Dignity had.
Thank you, Rebecca. Please.
First of all, let me congratulate you on all-female panel. And then a quick remark on my personal history, because it also relates to the overall development of media development as a sector. I came into media development and established the Baltic Center for Media Excellence 10 years ago, and I came from public broadcasting. And public broadcasting actually coming in from journalism, active journalism and media management into media development, of course, informed me a lot about how to approach media development. And I think that is one of the things that we can discuss maybe later, that to what extent we can help increase media expertise within the media development sector so that there's a greater understanding of the real needs on the ground. After the BCME, I stayed there for the building years, and after that I stepped down, and I have been a key expert in international media projects, most recently in the last 3 years since the full-scale invasion, working a lot with Ukraine on EU projects. And I have seen in these last 10 years how the media development sector changed very, very slowly, but in the right direction. We remember that 10 years ago, the projects that were distributed through the media development system were focusing on classroom seminars where you would have 15 journalists or 20 journalists somehow being taught the same thing without taking into account the different backgrounds, different audiences, different size of the newsroom. So you would bring a Swedish hipster, you put him in front of a room full of Ukrainian journalists, and now we will tell you how to do multimedia production because we know how to do it. And without taking into account any local specific environment and really the needs of local media. And what we have seen, kind of fast forward, there is more and more individualized approach. And in this last project where I was involved in EU for Independent Media, really what we try to do as a priority is to invest into individual newsrooms and tailor support to individual newsrooms. And then you can see that you can see the real change. And also if you treat it as an investment, not we are just dropping some money or dropping some experts, but we kind of see the lay of the land, what are your needs, and then we tailor support to your needs and build it up so we have covered these needs, then we move to the next level, then we move to the next level, and then you can see the real results. Say the starting point, there's a media outlet with no reader revenue, maybe 5 subscribers, and they end up with even 100 is already a big achievement. But now when we face extinction level event, which has been presented by the US funding freeze, because we all know here that over half of Ukrainian media budget on average, so long as you can have an average, it comes from donor support, and a large part of that donor support was American. For some media, it's even 80%. So we do face an extinction level event, and we should use that crisis as an opportunity to rehaul the media development system, how it functions and responds to the needs on the ground.
Thank you, Ola.
Yeah, thanks, Rita. You passed me a very good point to start with, because I truly believe that every crisis is also an opportunity, and this is a situation we do have now. Actually, we just, as a Lviv Media Forum team, we just got the most fresh numbers of the needs of the Ukrainian media, and it's huge. So together with UNESCO, by support of people of Japan, we surveyed the damage that was done to the Ukrainian media sector by the full-scale Russian invasion. And so far, like, Ukrainian media will need around 390 million of US dollars to recover from this damage. With the USAID freeze, there is no hope that we could get this money. And this is, you know, it was a very careful methodology, because it was the methodology of the World Bank. And by the way, it is the first time when media were considered as a part of economy. These numbers were included in the rapid damage and needs assessment on Ukraine, the last one issued in February. So now we have a situation when we need almost 400 million US dollars and don't have the main donor. So what should be our plan? First of all, we have to build a new strategy, because the changes are coming, and we decide whether we just observe the changes or we take an active part in it. It means that, first of all, donors and media support organizations should come together and decide what should be prioritized. We in Ukraine, I believe, I work in the sector for more than 12 years. I do believe we have quality media. The main issue of the Ukrainian media sector is not quality, but the impact. And what we should do in this situation is to support Ukrainian media on a strategic level, to turn quality media into impactful. And now, when we have no electoral process in the country, and less politicians are interested in influencing media than usually, you know. So from this perspective, this tailor-made approach and this focus on the needs of each media is crucial. I truly believe that donors shouldn't spread them thin around the sector, because the success of your project, EU for Independent Media, also proves it. When you have a tailor-made approach, you can change a specific media outlet in a specific community, which is, you know, life-changing for the community, because without independent media we cannot survive. And I believe if we scale it up on a national level, there could be the change for the whole country. And, you know, Ukraine is to some extent in a unique situation, because we can be an experimental field for other societies. How to rebuild and rethink the whole philosophy and the whole structure of the Ukrainian media market if we really invest, not just spread the resources thin, because we won't have more resources. I don't want, to be a Cassandra here, but I believe that we won't get this 400 million US dollars for recovery of the media sector. And that's what actually makes a big challenge for us, what to prioritize, how, not to go for a media survival, but how to turn Ukrainian media into true pillars of democracy that couldn't be shaken by the political will of someone.
Thank you, all three of you. It's absolutely correct and crucial that the gap will not be covered, and these are the talks that I hear within the donor community, within the governments, that we discuss the gap, that there is not the will, there is no interest to cover the gap that US left. Because also in Europe, we analyze whether it was actually the right model to support in that way. So this is being also, criticized and looked into with some critical, glasses. And it did not build a resilient and media viable community. Here, when you give support for long term, we forget that there is a creativity, there is a possibility to think beyond the box. And this is something that we need to invest our time, and that's, I'm happy that you talk about strategy and also about different risk assessments that needs to be in place. We need to be ready for risks. This is going to happen. Crisis is going to continue no matter what. I mean, we need to be always ready, and our independent media needs to be ready for that. Good, you both mentioned actually Suspilne is a crucial role for a democratic society. It's one of the few responses for, nationally what could be done. But of course we do have lots of smaller regional media that needs to survive, and voices from there that needs to survive as well. And, taking into that in consideration, and that we are talking about focus on surviving. So in your view, what does it take to move beyond that, to start building real power and long-term influence? We could start with you, Rebecca.
Maybe one step back, because so the figure Olga mentioned, nearly 400 billion, 400 million, nearly $500 million for a period of 5 years, to recover. So period of 5 years makes it a bit softer to digest. But it's still a lot, and I share the view of Olga that the EU and the international donor community will not give this sum to the media sector in Ukraine during the period to come. So this means that in spite of the war and in spite of all kind of tough challenges for journalists working in Ukraine in very different media, in a very diverse media landscape. This means we have to deal with those challenges all together. And I think that it's a very good idea to begin with thinking about priorities. So what should we not lose? First for the period of war, and then for the period to come. So for the future, nobody knows when it will begin. And I think that in both the speeches I heard in Lviv at the university yesterday, and here during the forum by Timothy Garton-Ash, he mentioned two very, very important points for the media sector of the future, from now to the future, and these points are, if you have, wherever in the world, but this counts also a lot for Ukraine, because you are on the positive side already, if you have a functioning public broadcaster, defend it by all your means. This is an appeal by Garton-Ash even to the Western states, not only said in Ukraine. The second point by him, which matters a lot for the media debate, was we have to cut again and again the connection, the links between wealth and power. So de-oligarchization and less oligarch influence in the media sector and on public opinion and in politics in Ukraine is crucial for the development during war and after. I think the Ukrainian journalists and media, the independent ones, they have to come together and to develop their own idea about what to make out of these two sentences, because you have Suspilne, but Suspilne also costs already a lot of money, how to finance it. Second, what in addition to Suspilne is necessary to have guarantee for a democratic and pluralistic debate. So how to guarantee quality journalism, quality information in a period of war and after war, so that the democratic development in Ukraine is supported from the side of the media. And making this, so working on this vision, working on concrete proposals, from my point of view, is a kind of adult approach to the lack of financial means after USAID decisions, and it's a very, very good way to re-enter, so next stage of discussions with the European donors. So that's really my recommendation, not wait for them to come, but go to them and say what is necessary. And the problem is this means that you might lose some platforms or smaller newsrooms. But it might be better to have less media, but guarantee for functioning media on all levels, national level, regional level, and the local level. For democratic development, it will be of tremendous importance.
I would like to encourage also the discussion between you all.
Yes.
And it would be good if you also reflect with your experience on what was said here and also come up with your own solutions.
Yes, I was going to say thank you for mentioning the role of the public broadcaster, because if we look at the sector of independent media as an ecosystem in Europe, in a European country, and in Ukraine as a European country, a public broadcaster plays a huge role. The public broadcaster is really the key player also to prevent news deserts from appearing. I'm sorry for quoting myself from the previous panel, but it becomes relevant in this one too, because it's a public broadcaster can be where maybe local independent media cannot survive. So making sure that the whole territory is covered and the public interest content reaches the entire population. But getting back to your original question about beyond survival, there are two parts of this question. One is what donors can do and should do, I would say, and what media themselves can do. So for donors, it is very important to prioritize. And we see that we had in our project a snapshot study of a US funding freeze impact on the media, and I'm sure there are other research, also media intelligence available, and it shows that there are two priority groups that are most affected. That's investigative journalism and regional media. So these are your priorities. For now, in this crisis, when you are in the eye of the storm, those are your priorities, so focus on that. Not just a little helicopter money for everyone. Choose your priorities wisely. Now I'm going to say the combination of words that I've been repeating many times, and I know it sounds a bit boring, but is crucial, is donor coordination. Oh my God, yeah. You've been talking about it from one conference to the next, but now it's really a matter of life and death. And by donor coordination, when donors come around the table and each says, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm doing this, and that is what they call coordination. No, it's not. It's not bloody coordination. It's just bragging about what you do. But coordination means that we have much less money. Huge amounts are gone and are not coming back. Those dollars are not coming back. So how do we make sure that we address the most pressing needs with the money that we have? And that means, okay, so you will be focusing on developing the AI capabilities and efficiencies of internal processes in the newsroom. Okay, you take care of that. We will be doing business development. You know, another one is doing something else. So specialization of donors, and I know this is not popular with donors, but at the moment it is just crucial. It has to happen. Also, the greater flexibility with application process. We know how much administrative resource, particularly in small newsrooms, what a pressure it creates in the newsroom when you are jumping from project to project, and they are short-term. And instead of providing media with core funding, which is crucial and should be prioritized, there are these short projects. And the worst thing, if it's just not just a short project, but the donor tells you, now you have to cover this and that topic. You know, you have to do this and that. We will tell you. We know what your audiences need. So that practice should be eliminated. And instead of that, focusing more on core support and also thinking of basket fund solutions, where there is a basket fund of a flexible funding that can be available to media. So what media can do on their part is, of course, be more savvy within your newsroom, how you use your resources and cooperate. So you can have one AI solution that covers several media. You have very good examples here in Ukraine, Rayon, for example. So many newsrooms cooperating, using the same AI solution that helps the whole group. Yes, so not looking at another hyperlocal outlet as a competitor, but rather cooperating, and investing into your development, looking for internal resources, how you can work more flexibly, how you can cooperate, and looking also for out-of-the-box partners outside of journalism where you can get more revenue.
Thank you, Ola. Your reflections.
Yeah, actually, finally, I've got a point where I can argue, you know, because Rita mentioned that those who are most affected need more support. I actually don't believe in this because of numbers. Due to the Institute of Mass Information Statistics, we've got around 5,000 media outlets in Ukraine before the full-scale invasion. A majority of them are local media outlets. There are no means we can support this huge amount of media outlets with. Also due to our research, around 50% of media before the full-scale invasion didn't get any experience with donor support. Now the percentage reduced to 30%, but still I have no idea actually how to do this. And the media that didn't have any clear vision of their future and maybe a lack of some strategy, lack of some idea how to mitigate the risks, were most affected. So I truly believe that we still have to think about representativeness, how many media in the region work, because when you are the only one quality outlet in the region, you probably lose the quality, and you are very impacted by the local political powers. However, keeping this media landscape that we have now, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be very realistic. So we have probably to find the right balance between the quantity of the media outlets and their impact on the local communities. So I think that we also overlook national media in all this. We do have Suspilne, which is a very reliable source of information. However, maybe Suspilne is the largest, so far is the largest media outlet. We have to have, I don't know, at least 5-10 Suspilnes, yes? Like this, maybe not funded by the state, by the government, but we need a very vibrant and broad network of national broadcasters that are independent from the state and from political powers. So don't overlook the national level, because we can just lose what is truly influencing the people's minds. And we will probably see the attempts to influence this media sector as soon as the political process is back. So in my opinion, we need to dive deeply into the real needs of the media, because if you ask media, you will always hear we need money for salaries, and like we need resources to cover our operational costs. But from my experience, media needs strategy. Media need operational, like they need business processes supported by money, for sure. Like you cannot build business processes if you get $25,000 for 6 months, round by round by round, for years. That's what like so many donors did before the USAID freeze. Now I truly believe that the strategy should be very different, and that's where we align with our points that the core support of the media, strengthened by external expertise, and looking into more flexible funding models and more flexible financial models that media can develop, could be a solution in this regard.
I actually don't think we are in disagreement, because I'm not arguing in favor of giving helicopter money to everybody who belongs to the most affected group. Because of course, if you continue distributing, 25,000 euros or dollars every 6 months to a newsroom that has zero fundraising skills, that doesn't have business development strategy, that is not working on audience engagement and is not looking into diversification of its revenue streams, then it is survival. And the movement should be away from survival and towards development. And there are ways to do it also. If you are providing the core support, it could be on a kind of every next step. It's kind of smaller money, and you have to work to make up for that lack of funding. And you have to be more active, also trying to more assertive and more active in looking for additional income yourself. So strategy, I totally agree. Strategy is important. Helicopter money for survival is a no-no, but donors also need to be changing their thinking. They really should be changing their thinking. Now is the time to use the crisis to really rehaul the whole mindset that has existed before. So Rebecca.
Yeah, so I would like to come back to this question of national media, regional and local media, because I think Olga is right, but I think national media, we have already some which are really functioning in Ukraine. For the local media and the regional media also, which could serve as an umbrella for local rooms or platforms, it's still very, very different, yeah, in the different regions. But as a politician, working also in the media politics since decades, it's for me quite clear that the political process of decentralization, which we began in Ukraine some years ago, already with the Poroshenko administration. With this process, we have to connect other processes, and the decentralization will be no success for the democratic processes in Ukraine if it is not also connected to a functioning local and regional media landscape. So how this is connected to the national level can be discussed. There are models in other countries which could be tested also, yeah? But we need to concentrate on this issue in an own way. So how to reflect the decentralization process in the media support. I think we need, for this discussion, we need the will also from the journalists working on the local and the regional level. So thinking about how can we do it better? How can we contribute under the new circumstances that the helicopter money is going to end? So there's no return to this model possible, this model introduced by USAID. And if we want to find our role as journalists in this new situation, there must be an own contribution to develop these ideas how to get functional under the new conditions. It's a crucial question for the democratic development, and so what I could recognize again especially during the Great Invasion, was when I visited regions. Yeah, so it was that the decentralization really has good fruits, but it needs to be guaranteed, and so we are always saying journalism and media are the fourth pillar in democratic systems. So also on the local and the regional level, not only with the national giants, we have really to find our role.
I would like to bring a bit of interactivity to the discussion now. We will come back to all three of you again. But please welcome, you are welcome from the audience to challenge some of the points that have been discussed here, or maybe you could even reflect to the fact that trust in media is actually under pressure everywhere, in Ukraine, but also around the world. And funding models are also shaky. So you're also welcome to come up with some of solutions from your side, because I mean, we are not an expert group, the only one. You are also quite a lot of experts sitting with us here in audience. So it could be either a question, a challenging remark, or your own solution. Please, any hands? Yes, please.
Yes, we have just 4.
Thank you very much for this very inspiring and interesting conversation. My question is about the Ukrainian diaspora, both as an audience, but also as a fundraising mechanism. I was just curious, both also the historic diaspora, but also the most recent one, especially since 2022. I'm from the Czech Republic. We have over 500,000 Ukrainian refugees. And I see that, for example, and maybe you've heard it in Ukraine, that, you know, a group of Ukrainians in Prague came with this idea that sounds crazy, to open a Ukrainian language bookstore. And when they opened, within a week, it was empty. And everybody thought this is like a completely unsustainable idea. You know, people have no money to buy books, and it proved otherwise. So I'm just curious if people have good examples of the role of the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a question on the different types of media. Rita, you've mentioned that the priority should be given to regional media and also to national broadcaster. But the question is, what about frontline media, the small media that serve the needs of their local communities for 100 years, who might need to evacuate together with the communities next days. And by losing this media, we're also losing the hearts and minds of people who might end up under the occupation. So how do we place these frontline medias in the new ecosystem that we have to recreate? And then there is another question, if you allow. It's about the ideas to create different media development funds where different donors can pool resources together. I know that there were different attempts in the past. There is still ongoing, a big, massive attempt to create this fund. Who, from your perspective, should lead this process and manage? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear colleagues. It was very interesting discussion. My name is Diana. I work at UNESCO. Also, Olha, thank you very much for mentioning research. It was truly a pleasure to work with LMF and all of the partners in its development. We are really looking forward for the publication in 2 weeks. And actually, my question is almost the same as the previous speaker. I wanted to ask you about your opinion. Also, maybe it's a question to all the speakers and also to the moderator. On your opinion on the many development funds that are currently have been announced. Do you see this also as a sign of this discoordination in the media development community, or as like potential good opportunity for coordination? So I'd be thankful for your opinions on that. Thank you.
So what question should I start to reply to? Okay, maybe I will share a couple of my thoughts based on the questions. I truly believe that we have to reconsider like fundraising for media, because now the funds are raised for survival. But money should be raised for development, you know, for scaling up. As soon as a big idea comes into the room, I think that money also would come with the idea. So this for sure could be Ukrainian diaspora, but this could be also, for example, banks. If they see if they see a potential of this investment in the idea, I think that they could also reconsider the media outlets, not just, you know, as a background of economy, yeah, but also as a part of it. The World Bank did it already. You know, as for frontline media, I think that frontline reporting should be saved. I cannot tell about specific media because there are those who are actually doing very good work, you know, a very good job, and they are in a constant contact with their audiences. They are responding to the audience's needs. But there are those who rather don't have enough capacity to provide you know, to provide these 24 hours reporting and to keep their audiences informed. I think that for this specific type of media, there could be a solution of cooperation, merging maybe resources together. That's what media support organizations and donors can encourage. Because if you have a team of 3, probably you won't be able to do the reporting on the same level as the media that could be done by a media outlet that has a team of 15, 20 people. And you know, I think that we won't get rid of the solution to reduce the operational costs. It's not only about media outlets, it's about media support organizations, about donors. It's about everyone, because we are a country at war and in an economic crisis without a huge part of support that was coming from outside. So the time has come for new era solutions, and sometimes these solutions might be very unpleasant. But we have to reconsider the way we work. We not only have to better coordinate ideas, but also to cut the resources, to cut the expenses, because we get less resources. So I, as a CEO of the media support organizations, think in the same way. It's not only about, you know, advising other people of doing something that I wouldn't do. We do this, like we think how we can. This forum is organized in a way that we shared resources with many of you sitting here in the room. So this works for sure, and this can help you to survive the crisis, you know, and to find out maybe there are more efficient ways of operating, because people need us. Even if they don't understand that they need quality information, they do need this. So we work for the sake of communities and for the sake of democracies. That's why we have to be creative in it.
I think Olga covered the ground very well. Mergers is one of the solutions, cooperating and sharing resources rather than three people newsrooms having to cope with fundraising and reporting on their own. Outsourcing it and paying one person that serves the 3. And yes, the mergers and cooperation becomes from just a buzzword that travels from project to project to something that actually needs to happen and bring results. And I wanted to answer, Tatiana, to your question about a basket fund. I don't think we should be naming names. So this deserves to be the holder of the basket fund, and that doesn't deserve to be a holder. My only remark on that is that let's use the existing organizations with extensive experience in already distributing grants that have internal media expertise, and I return to the point that I made earlier. Within the media development sectors, unfortunately, we do have some players that to this day lack media expertise. So they are good at distributing money, but they do not have internal understanding of how media function, particularly in the most challenging circumstances that the war presents. So there are players out there with media expertise and detailed, granular understanding of the media sector, and that those can serve as aggregators of funding. Just like we have the coalition, say a drone coalition led by Latvian government. Several governments get together and have a drone coalition. We can have a coalition of the willing to support media.
So what I observed after this USAID cut of support was immediately a kind of competition among those who wanted to survive. And it's easy to understand, so everybody understands the reason. So Olga said in the beginning, so we should use the crisis as the moment to get better. This first moment, I think, has already been missed because some decisions have been made with the feeling of emergency and need to guarantee survival. So how to continue? I can only say I think that the decisions should be made among the organizations in Ukraine and with the Ukrainian journalists who feel responsible not only for now but for the future development of journalism in Ukraine. Merger is not only so a buzzword, I would say. So at least not from my understanding what could happen. In the morning I heard proposals and also demands by Suspilne, and they have an urgent need for cooperation in the regions of Ukraine with people who are prepared to deliver reports or also investigations. They really need the cooperation to be functional on the national level based on good roots in the regions. So I come from Germany. We have, I think we are a kind of nirvana of regional and local media, especially also newspapers. But meanwhile, most of the so-called regional media have regional umbrella pages. They have a cooperation with national newsroom. They have the national political pages, and then they have the local pages. And they have sometimes for the smaller cities in one oblast, they have for each of the city, they have one page. But made by people on the ground, not picked up somewhere and copy and paste method, but really fresh reporting every day, really with a regional approach. So there are lots of possibilities to be discussed. This discussion needs the active involvement of those who do not only want to survive based on aid, but want to develop the journalism of the future for all levels of democracy in Ukraine.
So just I'm trying to sum up and also come back to the first question that was not addressed on diaspora. I actually would like to, I think we should not even respond to this. I think it's a business model already existing. So that means that let us not use the example of Kyiv Independent that actually uses this diaspora, and not only diaspora, actually they use foreign audience mostly. But diaspora is striving to get Ukrainian content and finding a way to sell the content for diaspora, not only in Czech Republic, in Germany, in Denmark, in Latvia, in other countries that we know that there are lots of, Spain. There is a huge potential. For that, I would also like, because I got a question also from moderator in terms of coordination. Yes, I completely agree. Coordination, and also with you, coordination is the key. We talk a lot about internal coordination, local coordination, partnership on the ground. This is extremely important for international also to coordinate, not only with regards to the big donor coordination, who is doing what. I completely agree with you, Rita, but also, sharing each other's strategies with regards to media development, finding each other within the strategic pillars and contributing to and co-implement together. So if we have good journalism as one of the big, and media development as one of the big strategic areas, and we might find few of us working with that, let's see what we can do together as one program, not as one organization competing to the other. Then we can also bring change to the country. And also one more reflection from the panel that I've got. Cooperation I mentioned, but I've been talking a lot also within the networking around between the panels. The word emergency, that is probably something that we should forget using. Emergency is coming every day, all the time. So we need to, and this is coming back to Ola saying strategy, getting ready, being strategic about it, then you can face any emergency. Having all these different types of funding mechanisms, saying emergency funding, for what? Emergencies might never end. There will be another crisis, another major emergency, so maybe just looking back, lessons learned, analyzing, and then building future sustainability for the media. But then before we finish off, I actually would like to challenge a bit, not challenge, but it's kind of a challenge. If you could sum up in one word, maximum one short sentence, the main feedback and main solution or a message that you would like to give to the audience, the time is now. So please, if you have any, summing up your key message in either one word or one sentence.
Imagine your ideal future and look for any opportunity to get there.
I'll just use the hashtag strategic thinking.
Great.
I think the future is already happening. So you are already working for the future.
Thank you. Then let's look into future. No turning back, no repeating the past. And let's challenge the future together. Thank you so much.
Okay. That's a great note to end. Thank you. Thank you, European Center for Press and Media Freedom, to support this panel. We will be back in an hour because it's time for lunch now. At 3 p.m. we are here for an event with Julia Dukac, Mikkelina Thompson and Morten Holst.